And I don't believe in this one we have Malter yet, do we? Nope, we don't have Malter.
Yeah.
Do yarn add Malter. Get that put in. Then in our recipe router, let's bring in our Malter. And then we're also going to bring in FS for file system. We're going to need that when we do any of our puts. So the first thing we need to do is Malter is going to be a middleware, but we need to configure it. So let's make our file storage engine, which is just basically going to be our option. It's going to equal
Gotcha.
Malter dot disk storage, and this is how we're going to tell it where we want it to go. So we're going to say our destination, and it's going to take in a request, a file. It's going to take in a callback. Then open that up. And then here's going to be our callback, and we're going to pass it our first option null. The second option is going to be just, this is going to be our file name. So dot slash, we're going to say in this directory, and then we want to put it in a folder called images. And if images doesn't exist, it's going to create that. Then after this, we're going to give it our file name, and it's going to take in okay, so it's going to be the same. I'm going to take in rec, the request, file, and a callback as well. And then in that, all we need to do is handle the callback, give it null. Then this is here where we're going to name the file. So for everyone coming in, we're gonna name the file. And the way I did this on this one is just we're going to grab the day.now. Bracket there. I'm going to add it. I'm just going to add some hyphens to kind of separate it. And then we have, if you look right here, we have the file coming in. So we have access to the file. And we can grab the file dot the original name. So whenever we make a new file, whatever their file name they send it over as or whatever we upload it as, we're going to add the date.now, a couple hyphens, and then we're grabbing the original file name. That's
Nice.
all we have to do for the file storage engine. And then we're going to come down here. We're going to do upload. This is going to be our actual middleware here. It's going to equal Malter. And then inside of here, we're going to pass it a storage. For that, we're going to pass it that file storage engine we just created. It's really not bad. I mean, once you break this down, we have like 6-7 lines of code here. Not too bad. This is basically as hard as Malter gets. It's a very awesome package to use. So now if we want to use it, let's come down to here, and we're going to pass it as middleware right in our post request here, and we're going to say, let's get space here, let's do our upload dot single, and then here we're going to call this a title image. Actually, let's just call image. I think I have it pre-planned as. Separate it up with a comma. Now, whenever we go to hit this post request, it's going to check if there's a file, and it's going to look for a single one named image. And if one has a property image, it's going to upload it automatically. And then we can come down here if we want, because we're going to need this. We'll say our image is equal to rec dot file dot file name. Is all this kind of clear so far?
Yeah, it's really easy to read, so it's explanatory as it goes through.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. First time I used Malter, I was like, this is So now we're grabbing the file name, and this is a processed file name. So this is what we named it from here. So that's where our name's going to come from. So now we can store that in our database, and now we know that's how we can access it from the images folder, because we know it's going to be an images folder, and this is going to be the file name.
Nice.
Well, that should have this post done. I'm going to do the other post. Let's go ahead and add it to the other post, which is on steps, I believe. Let's go down to steps, post. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. Upload dot single. Let's call this step image. Try to remind me when we get to Postman that I name this one step image. Why don't I just call it image again? I don't think it's going to make any difference. Call it image. Try to keep it simple. Okay. So once again, we need our image. I probably could have destructured this out of here. No, I did this for a reason. There's a reason I didn't destructure this. Is that way it's named just image and not file name? We would have to go through and change our model. So that way we can just call it here. If we name this file name, we could have just destructured it, but I don't think that would have saved us anything other than trying to destructure for the sake of destructuring. Okay, so that should have everything on the post request. Do you want to test these before we go forward with the put? Because the put gets a little more complicated.
Yes. So let's this code in small, just break it down
and okay, so back in Postman, we're gonna do our image, and then probably should show this part. You can choose file or text, we can choose file. And then I chose this image locally on my computer, gave it a title, and gave it a description. Send it over. We inserted it. Let's check and make sure we got it back. Do a get. We got it there. Now we can add a step. Step's gonna be similar. Choose file, image. These are just text. And then the ingredients we passed as an array. With step number of this is the first step. Set that. Got that back. Check the steps. Make sure we can get a step. So we grabbed all the steps for title ID of 1. There was a step we just sent, and then we come down to ingredients. We got our first ingredient, and then our second ingredient. So that all looks very good. And then if we come back to our actual code, we can see this was the first image we sent over, and this was the second image that we sent over, and Malter handled all of that as a middleware. In our recipe router here, it uploaded one single image. So you can do upload multiple, by the way. There's a lot of different, the documentation is always your friend, but you can upload. In this case, if you try to pass multiples, we're only going to grab one. But this handled all of that, and we now have that. So we're going to move on to the put request for title. Am I on title? Nope, that's step. Let's start.
On my end, it kind of froze for a moment. So when you were in Postman, were you able to state where the correlation for where these steps were actually tying to the titles?
I'm not understanding what you're saying, so let's figure that out.
So you insert the title and then the steps individually.
Correct.
But in the steps, there's no parameter to say what title this is associative to.
Oh.
So that's why I was asking if it was something in the...
No, there should be. Steps. So we forgot something. Oh, wait, no. Okay. So right here. So this step applies to the title ID of 1. Okay, sorry. I see where your confusion is now. So if we added a new title it would create when we, let's say, get all titles. So if we look at all of our titles right now, we only have one with an ID of 1. If we were to add another one, let's say pulled pork, let's call this beef, and we'll just give it a sample description. Okay, so we're going to send that over. And now this has got an ID of 2. So when we get titles, this is still ID of 1. The next one we send over is ID of 2. If we wanted to add a step to beef, we'd come over here to steps, we change that to 2.
Okay, so it's in the path name.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's in the URL name. So, and then this is a step number. So if it's a first step, if we're going to add a second step, we name it 2. If we're going to add a third step, 4th. The idea behind this is when you get all the steps for 1, let's say there's 50 steps. Well, rather than making a server call every single time, we can make one server call and have everything preloaded. Because this isn't going to be a huge server call. At least that's my thinking behind it. And I always stand to be wrong, which happens a lot. But that's kind of my thing behind it. Like I said, is just let's grab them all as an array. And that makes it really easy to navigate on the other side as well. When we're on our client side, as we know, we just have an array of steps and we can work through them that way. Does that clarify everything?
Yep. Awesome.
Cool. Okay. So let's go back in the code here. Our recipe router again. And in our put, we are going to do a very similar thing that we just did. We're going to do upload single, call it image again, type. Okay, we've got our image. And then down here, we need to do if we have rec.file.file name. So throw an error there. So essentially, so if we have a new image, so we've already talked about in the previous time that you don't have to send everything over to update. You can send over just a title or just a description. So we're going to check if there's a file name. Now, there's a file name, a new one. We already have an old one here. So this is where we're going to come into using the FS. We're going to do FS unlink, process, let's get the current working directory, plus images, plus some more escapes. Then do previous title image. So that's, we destructured that in the last time we talked about. We got the previous title, this here. But we destructured, we got the previous title name, the previous image from here. So we actually found it, we grabbed it. So basically if we're gonna need to do a new image, we're gonna need to get the old image's name. So we're gonna grab the ID of it and we're gonna grab it from there. And then this is gonna delete that image here. And we want to catch if there's an error. Let's catch that error. Say if error there. Otherwise, it's console.long. I'm just going to console.log at the image. Dated. And then we will, if this works and everything is good, we're going to say our new title dot image What did I call it? Did I call it new title? Yep. New title dot image is equal to rec dot file dot. Okay. Well, that's kind of quite a bit there that I just did. But is that clear, or do I need to kind of explain that a little bit better?
Nope, you walk through the if statement really well, so
Awesome.
if and thens.
Yeah, they get, and especially when things start getting nested with like callbacks, that gets a little confusing. But basically, if everything's all good, we deleted it, we didn't throw an error and kick out of here. Let's take our new title.image and we're going to make it our current one, because we're going to take this new title object and we're going to spread it out and update our record there. And because this takes in objects with keys, if that object's not there, it's totally okay with it. So if we need this here, I should have this one updated. Now it gets a little more funky as we get into the put of our instructions or steps. So, okay, start with our put. We know we're going to want to do, and if you want to do any of this, let me know. I just know this is kind of an awkward, this is some awkward code right here. Can't say it's the easiest one. So we've already have our ingredients handled. We're gonna do the same thing down here. If rec dot file dot file name. Well, this one's almost identical. Never mind. I was thinking
And
about
so the ternary operator behind file is just saying that if the request has a file with a file name, right?
correct. If otherwise we don't want to crash it. If there's nothing there, we yeah. I've seen you use it before, so I know.
Yeah, like I said, during this, I'll just ask questions
Yeah, I love it.
to kind of explain what we're doing. Yeah.
I love it. So again, we will do our FSN link. Profits. Now, here's something that I am not clear on, and I'll kind of explain it here in a second. See if do you run on Mac or Windows?
I have both. Most of my coding's been on a Windows.
Okay, so you shouldn't have any issues writing this or running this. I'm not sure, but there might be an issue running this on a Mac, because, and I did my best to catch it here with just getting the current working directory plus images, but the double slashes I believe are specific to handle on the Windows machine. I'm not sure, because I don't know if you're familiar with this call right here, process.get CWD, current working directory.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whose computer we're at, it's going to bring you up to the root, and this is going to grab the root and then add on to it from here. But I'm not sure that could pose a problem. Maybe somebody that plays with this will be on the Mac, can let us know. And if so, that could be a whole thing we can learn about how to handle that. Or we switch to Docker. So again, we have an error.
That just made me like, now I'm curious if it'll actually throw anything off being on the different OS.
It might. I tried to handle it, but I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did correctly. And I don't know what the correct fix is, if there is one. Okay, so all this works. Update step dot image is going to equal rec file dot file name. Okay, so that should have all that there. All right, so now we can go to Postman, and we should be able to edit our step. So we'll call pulled pork updated for a title. And then let's give it a new image. Let's go that one. Send it over. Get success. Should be able to come over into our VS Code, see our image was deleted, and that we now have a new image there. For
Nice.
that, okay. Come back to our Postman, we get all our titles and make sure our pulled pork updated. So it did update the title and it updated the new image location. Forward edit steps and change this one to that one there. And change the title to apply rub updated. We could do ingredients, but we don't have to do ingredients here. So we can pick and choose. We got success. Check our steps that it was updated. We're updated there, and we should be able to go back to VS Code and see our new image. See, we still only have 2 images. We deleted the other one, and we replaced it with this one. So
Awesome.
that wraps up everything on the back end. I think the only thing I can think of that we did not handle on the back end, and it doesn't need to be user accessible, is we don't have any delete routes. That's something we could create when we create an admin side of our app on the front end. But for now, I don't think it'd be a good idea. Well, let's wait till we get authorization. Maybe when you get authorization, a user should be able to delete their own, whatever they created. And in that case,
Right.
we'll want to track the user IDs and add them to the recipe itself, and then the user can delete them from there.
Yeah, because we'd have to verify each user and make sure that it was theirs that was deleted. Yeah, that
Correct.
makes sense.
But for now, I think that wraps up the back end for kind of our MVP model here.
Awesome. So next time we'll get started on the front.
Client side is next.
Sweet.